This is episode 120 of That Shakespeare Life.
Hi, I'm Stephen Rojcewicz, a retired psychiatrist and independent scholar in comparative literature, investigating the impact of the classics on Shakespeare. Another great method for studying the life of William Shakespeare includes listening to this, the podcast that superbly applies Shakespeare's words to the internet. There's magic in the web. It's That Shakespeare Life with my friend, Cassidy Cash.
Welcome to That Shakespeare Life with Cassidy Cash. Cassidy believes that if you desire to successfully learn or perform Shakespeare's plays, then understanding the real life and history of William Shakespeare himself is a must. That Shakespeare Life is the podcast that helps you go beyond the curtain of some of Shakespeare's most iconic works and explore the world of early modern England as Shakespeare would have lived it, learning from the writers, historians, and performers who know it best. And now, here's Cassidy.
In Elizabethan England, there was a strong overlap in the use of drugs as medicine and then using them for magic. Real physical diseases like epilepsy or psychological conditions like the pathological jealousy we see show up in Shakespeare's Othello are all conditions that were just beginning to be fully understood by the medical community in the 16th century. One of the primary drugs used to treat epilepsy and pathological jealousy by physicians from the 16th century was a drug called mummy. It was considered a standard drug for people like John Hall, Shakespeare's son-in-law, who was trained in medicine in Stratford-upon-Avon. This particular drug was extracted from the bodies of corpses, and the dark and sinister nature of the drug's origins, combined with the pervasive belief in the supernatural and conviction of superstition that saturated Elizabethan England, it was perhaps the perfect choice for Shakespeare when he uses the drug mummy as the substance that runs as a theme throughout his play Othello. Here to help us explore the culture, medicine, and superstition behind the drug mummy and how it was used during Shakespeare's lifetime is our guest, Stephen Rojcewicz. Steve Rojcewicz is a professional psychiatrist with 40 years of practice in medicine, informing his current work as a scholar in comparative literature. Steve applies his experience in medicine with his lifelong interest in languages and literature, along with a master's degree in classics and a PhD in comparative literature, to study the intersection of psychiatry and the humanities, and on classical reception, including the influence of Latin and Greek works on James Joyce and William Shakespeare. He's the co-author of a textbook on supportive psychotherapy and has published numerous papers and book reviews, including his most recent work, which have focused on Thornton Wilder and on the Nobel Prize-winning Polish novelist Olga Tokarczuk. Hello, Steve. Welcome to the show.
Hello, Cassidy. It's great to be here. I feel like I'm in London in Shakespeare's time.
While mummy to modern ears refers to this bandage-wrapped corpse from horror movies of old, for Shakespeare, this term could actually apply to a variety of chemical substances. And the Oxford English Dictionary explains that among those options, a corpse was not one of them. Steve, what did the word mummy mean for William Shakespeare?
Mummy was important for Shakespeare. Othello's handkerchief was dyed in mummy, and he used mummy in 3 plays. But at the time Shakespeare wrote Othello, the term mummy primarily referred to a medicinal substance extracted from embalmed bodies or even from any corpse, not to the corpses, the embalming mummy themselves. It's widely used as a drug in the 12th to the 16th century. Mummy was a drug expensive and available through apothecary shops. It was actually a very lucrative trade in mummies. For the centuries, mummy had different meanings. It began, if you go back to around the 10th century, as a healing substance similar to bitumen, which was used for embalming. Then it began to mean a substance extracted from the embalming wrappers around the mummy. Then it began to mean a substance extracted from the embalmed bodies themselves. And finally, by Shakespeare's time, a substance that could be extracted from any corpse. Now, this might not have always been true in practice. There was deceit, counterfeits, substitution of animal meats for mummy, and even there's a play, a Tudor play, The Fair Maid of the Inn, that refers to counterfeit money. mummy, but it was believed to have been extracted from corpses.
Excited to see more? Subscribe today at cassidycash.com/experience to watch this entire interview, bonus archaeological footage, and documentaries, and more, all about the life of William Shakespeare. I'll see you inside.